But I go, can I just try another one? That moment comes and I just go, this is Sparta!
Gerard Butler may have roared "This is Sparta" with unstoppable fury, but what fans never saw was the chaos, pain, and near madness happening behind the camera. Now, years later, Butler is breaking his silence and revealing the brutal truth about what really went down during the making of 300. Curious to know what the movie never showed you? Let's uncover the secrets Butler finally brought to light. When 300 was theatrically released in March 2007, few expected it to become one of the most talked-about movies of its time. Directed by Zack Snyder and based on Frank Miller's graphic novel, the film did not rely on big-name stars or traditional historical storytelling. Instead, it brought a hyper-stylized vision of the Battle of Thermopylae to life, with bold visuals, slow-motion action, and intense performances. Despite being a risky project in the eyes of studios, 300 defied all expectations at the box office. In its opening weekend alone, it earned an astonishing $70 million, surpassing its $60 million budget in days. The film went on to gross over $456 million worldwide, becoming one of the most profitable and influential movies of that year. Its success proved that audiences were hungry for bold, experimental storytelling. Beyond its pop culture dominance, 300 also sparked a fitness revolution. The sculpted physiques of the Spartan warriors, led by Butler's King Leonidas, became the new standard of cinematic strength. Fans worldwide began asking how the cast achieved such results, which led to the now famous 300 workout. Featured in magazines and later adopted in gyms globally, this punishing routine transformed into a cultural phenomenon. Suddenly, fitness wasn't just about looking good, it was about training like a Spartan. But while the movie became a box office juggernaut and pop culture icon, the reality behind the camera was far more grueling. Beneath the stylized visuals and heroic battle cries was a production filled with pain, sacrifice, and relentless physical demands. Gerard Butler has since revealed that what audiences saw on screen came at an incredible cost. The set was a dangerous place, with constant injuries and even hospital visits becoming part of daily life. Director Zack Snyder's commitment to authenticity meant that many actors performed their own stunts instead of relying heavily on doubles. While this made the action sequences more visceral and powerful, it also pushed the cast to their physical and mental limits. Butler described days when actors were rushed to the hospital due to fractured ankles, severe cuts, or near-catastrophic spear accidents. Every slow-motion moment of glory on screen was built upon sweat, bruises, and relentless endurance. And the suffering didn't begin on set, it started months earlier with a brutal physical preparation. To embody King Leonidas, Butler trained for 7 months at Jim Jones under elite coach Mark Twight. His daily sessions, often lasting 6 hours, combined CrossFit, martial arts, weightlifting, and intense circuit training. This was not just about looking strong, but about becoming strong. The cast pushed themselves to levels most thought impossible, and the 300 workout became infamous for its intensity. Butler himself admitted that the training nearly destroyed his body, leaving him with tendinitis, hip damage, and a torn rotator cuff. Still, he pushed forward, determined to truly embody the Spartan king. What set Butler apart was not just his physical preparation but his emotional commitment. He meditated daily, claiming that he tried to channel Leonidas through a weird portal. For him, it wasn't enough to act like a warrior, he wanted to live as one. He performed many of his own stunts, taking on dangerous sequences that risked injury but added authenticity to his performance. Every swing of the sword and every roar of defiance came from a place of full physical and emotional immersion. The challenges didn't end with stunts or workouts. Because so much of the movie relied on blue screen technology, the actors had to visualize entire battles without practical effects. There were no exploding blood packs or massive sets, just empty space. They had to fight enemies who weren't there and imagine the chaos of war, requiring not only physical endurance but also immense concentration and acting skill. In the end, the sacrifices made by Gerard Butler and the cast of 300 gave the film its legendary energy. The scars, the exhaustion, and even the hospital visits became part of the story. A story that wasn't just about warriors on screen but also about the real struggle of the people who brought them to life. For Butler, embodying Leonidas was about more than memorizing lines. It was about suffering, sacrificing, and earning every single moment. Gerard Butler's full-body commitment to Leonidas, both mentally and physically, not only defined his career but also cemented the legacy of 300. He didn't just study a script or memorize lines. He entered a psychological space where he truly felt what it meant to lead men into battle and face death without hesitation. His willingness to perform stunts, endure pain, and embrace risk created a performance that felt raw and real, even in a film dominated by digital effects and stylized violence. Once you understand how far Butler went to embody Leonidas, it's time to step behind the scenes of the battlefield itself, where cutting-edge technology and visionary style turned a warehouse into a world of myth and war. Zack Snyder's vision for 300 was clear from the beginning. He wanted to bring Frank Miller's graphic novel to life in a way no other comic book adaptation had done before. His blueprint was a near shot-for-shot realization of Miller's panels, crafting a visual experience that closely mirrored the dramatic style of the original material. About 90% of the film's shots relied heavily on visual effects, with Snyder using blue-screen technology to create the mythic world of Sparta. This painterly graphic novel in motion style was achieved in a Montreal studio, where actors performed in cramped, sweltering conditions surrounded by little more than blue screens and minimal props. The cliffs of Thermopylae, Xerxes' throne room, and every mythic backdrop were digitally constructed in post-production, giving Snyder total control over light, weather, and environment, but at a cost. The intense artificial lights created unbearable heat, forcing the cast to endure extreme discomfort. Gerard Butler himself revealed he fainted from dehydration and overexertion while performing long hours of armored fight choreography. The commitment to Snyder's stylistic vision also extended to creative choices that favored mood over realism. One striking example was the Oracle's eerie scene, where much of her dialogue was improvised to heighten the dreamlike quality. Snyder wasn't chasing historical accuracy but rather building a world steeped in legend and symbolism. Every detail, from dialogue to movement, was crafted to reflect themes of destiny, sacrifice, and glory. Beyond visual artistry, 300 reshaped modern fitness culture. The film's aesthetic depended not only on visual effects but also on the physiques of its actors, forged through the infamous 300 workout. This brutal regimen demanded 300 non-stop reps of pull-ups, deadlifts, push-ups, box jumps, floor wipers, and kettlebell drills. It was so intense that, according to Men's Health, only one cast member ever completed the full routine. Even Gerard Butler admitted he was too drained to train at all for a year after filming ended. Yet the ripped Spartan look caught the public's imagination, sparking fitness trends, new gym programs, and even discussions on body image pressures. The Spartan body became a new cultural ideal, shaping men's fitness goals worldwide. Amid the exhaustion, heat, and punishing schedules, something deeper emerged, a powerful brotherhood among the cast. Gerard Butler, carrying the weight of leadership both as Leonidas and as the head of the ensemble, later reflected that the unity between the actors was essential to capturing the Spartan spirit. His co-stars, including Lena Headey, David Wenham, Dominic West, and a then-rising Michael Fassbender, were more than colleagues. They were training partners, emotional anchors, and teammates. Together they endured hours of punishing workouts, pushed through pain, and shared meals, laughs, and recovery. The 300 workout became more than just physical preparation. It was a bonding ritual. By the time filming began, the cast had forged a genuine sense of respect and unspoken understanding. Butler explained, "We were like a team. When we stood on set, we felt like we had already been through war. We knew each other's strengths. We knew each other's pain. That made the performance real." This authenticity translated on screen, making the Spartans feel like a united brotherhood ready to fight and die for one another. The bond extended beyond the workouts into coping with the brutal heat, the isolation of blue screens, and the endless takes. For Lena Headey and David Wenham, this connection brought depth to quieter, emotional moments of sacrifice and farewell, while Fassbender credited the group dynamic with keeping him focused and committed. In the end, 300 wasn't just a film about warriors. It became an experience that forged real ones behind the camera as well. The shared goal of honoring the Spartan code of loyalty and courage bound the cast in ways that went far beyond the script. Their off-screen friendship became the emotional foundation for their characters' fierce unity on screen. Now, let's take you into how 300 made its mark far beyond the screen, shaping culture, cinema, and even fitness for years to come. When 300 hit theaters in 2007, few could have predicted the massive cultural footprint it would leave behind. What began as a stylized adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel quickly grew into a global phenomenon, influencing not only cinema but also fitness culture, advertising, fashion, and pop culture itself. As noted by CNET Live, the The film became a defining moment for stylized historical epics and redefined what epic storytelling could look like for a new generation. One of the most remarkable aspects of 300 was how it set a new standard for visual storytelling. The use of high-contrast color grading, digitally enhanced slow-motion combat, and dramatic lighting helped establish what would later become Zack Snyder's signature style. This highly stylized approach created an immersive world that felt both ancient and mythic, more like a legend passed down through generations than a traditional period drama. This distinct visual tone inspired a wave of films and television series that embraced similar aesthetics. Projects like Spartacus, Blood and Sand, Immortals, and even Game of Thrones borrowed from 300's dramatic flair, utilizing slow motion, stylized blood effects, and intense close-up action to evoke emotion and scale. The success of 300 opened the door for studios to take more visual risks, proving that audiences were ready for bold, graphic novel-inspired storytelling. Beyond the screen, 300 left a lasting impact on fitness culture. The chiseled bodies of the Spartan warriors, especially that of Gerard Butler's Leonidas, became a new benchmark for male fitness ideals. The infamous 300 workout, originally developed by trainer Mark Twight for the cast, was quickly adopted by gyms, trainers, and fitness enthusiasts worldwide. Magazines like Men's Health published versions of the routine, and countless articles broke down the methods behind the cast's transformation. The idea of achieving the Spartan physique became a widespread fitness goal, pushing discussions about discipline, body image, and physical endurance into the mainstream. The film also sparked conversations about masculinity and strength in the modern age. Its depiction of men bonded by duty, honor, and sacrifice resonated with audiences globally. The themes of loyalty, courage, and defiance in the face of overwhelming odds became rallying points not just for fans of action films, but also for those seeking modern-day inspiration from ancient values. The iconic line, "This is Sparta," roared by Butler's Leonidas, transcended the film and became a viral sensation, used in memes, parodies, and social commentary across platforms. This single moment helped cement 300 as a piece of pop culture history. Academically, 300 stirred renewed interest in ancient history, especially the Battle of Thermopylae. Book sales of Herodotus' histories rose after the film's release, and college courses began to use the movie as a visual reference point for discussions about myth versus fact. While many historians criticized the film's accuracy, they also acknowledged its ability to spark curiosity among students who may never have otherwise explored the topic. In Hollywood, 300 was a game-changer. It proved that a film without major stars, shot mostly in a warehouse using blue screens, could become a box office giant. It also launched Zack Snyder into the spotlight, earning him future projects like Watchmen and Man of Steel. Gerard Butler, too, saw his career take off, becoming a household name and action icon almost overnight. Even years later, the legacy of 300 remains strong. It continues to be referenced, studied, and admired as a work that dared to do something different, and succeeded. From its visual style to its physical demands, from its cultural quotes to its influence on media and fitness, 300 was more than a movie. It became a movement. And while the film's legacy echoed across pop culture and cinema, its impact was perhaps most personal for Gerard Butler. Before 300, Butler was a relatively unknown actor navigating his way through a series of smaller roles in both film and television. Though he had shown flashes of charisma and talent in earlier performances, such as his role as the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera, 2004, and appearances in films like Reign of Fire and Timeline, he was far from a household name. While these projects gave him exposure, none provided the breakout moment that could launch him into global stardom. That moment arrived in 2007 with his unforgettable portrayal of King Leonidas in Zack Snyder's 300. The film transformed Butler's career overnight. As the fierce and fearless Spartan king, he commanded every frame with intensity, physical presence, and a roar that would become one of cinema's most iconic lines, "This is Sparta." His performance resonated with audiences not just because of the character's strength, but because of the conviction Butler brought to the role. He threw himself into the physical preparation, endured the punishing training, and delivered a performance that felt raw and powerful. 300 wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon, and Butler was at the center of it. Following the success of 300, Butler became one of the most sought-after leading men in Hollywood. Casting directors and studios quickly recognized his ability to carry a film, especially in roles that demanded both physical intensity and emotional depth. He began to land bigger roles, stepping into both action-heavy projects and romantic leads. His next major films included P.S. I Love You, 2007, where he starred opposite Hilary Swank in a romantic drama that showed a more sensitive side of his acting. This role helped him avoid being typecast purely as an action star. He returned to action in Gamer, 2009, and the crime drama Rock'n'Rolla, 2008, directed by Guy Ritchie, further proving his range and willingness to take on diverse characters. Then came Law-Abiding Citizen, 2009, a dark thriller where he played a man seeking revenge on a flawed justice system. The film was a box office success and highlighted Butler's ability to portray morally complex characters. Butler also found his footing in comedy and romance. The Ugly Truth, 2009, where he starred alongside Katherine Heigl, became a popular romantic comedy, while The Bounty Hunter, 2010, opposite Jennifer Aniston, continued his streak of commercially successful, if critically mixed, releases. These films kept him in the public eye and solidified his versatility. Despite his ventures into different genres, Butler remained closely associated with action and epic roles. He returned to ancient history in Gods of Egypt, 2016, took on Disaster in Geostorm, 2017, and anchored the Fallen series, Olympus Has Fallen, 2013, London Has Fallen, 2016, and Angel Has Fallen, 2019, where he portrayed Mike Banning, a hardened Secret Service agent. These films reinforced his action hero status and built a loyal fan base around his rugged, no-nonsense persona. Butler also continued to work on smaller, more character-driven films like Machine Gun Preacher, 2011, and Greenland, 2020, where he combined action with deeper emotional themes. These projects showed that while he could lead major blockbusters, he was equally interested in stories that challenged him as an actor. In the years since 300, Gerard Butler has carved out a lasting presence in Hollywood. The film didn't just elevate his career, it defined it. It gave him a global audience, a signature role, and a platform to explore a wide range of characters across genres. For many fans, he will always be King Leonidas, the fearless warrior who made death look like destiny. But for Butler, 300 was the beginning of a journey that turned him into one of modern cinema's most recognizable and enduring stars. What are your thoughts on Gerard Butler's revelations about the behind-the-scenes struggles of 300? Did his commitment and the cast's intense journey change how you see the film? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.